Hi guys, Nadeja here. Welcome to my channel, Live in a Line. If you are first time visiting my channel, thank you so much for joining me. And if you are returning to my channel, thank you for returning and supporting my work. I appreciate it. This is part 2 to the relationship question, long distance relationships. I was on the fence, and I'm just giving different sides of long distance relationships, and I think they can work. Why or why not? I was stating in my very first video, it's actually a short because my video had cut off. I don't know, I must have pressed something. But I was saying that I think that, first of all, two people who want to be together absolutely can positively be together. And with that, in them being together, you actually would have to have a lot of very quality things in place for each person. They would have to know what their goals were. I believe they would have to have a plan in place to make sure that they were, in fact, able to know when they were going to see each other, know when they were going to actually be moving. Are you going to be moving to where I am? Am I going to move to where you are? Are we going to blend families? How are we going to do finances? Am I going to rent out my house? Are you going to rent out your house? How are we going to do it? When are we going to come together? And actually, at what point do we get married and get into the same state? Now, some people might have long distance relationships, and if it works for them, awesome. However, in my experience, I found that the type of person that I am, I do want to see my person. I want to see them. I want to spend time with them. I feel like I would want to take them out. Now, a couple of times, what I noticed, what makes me think that relationships cannot work long distance is the fact that if you really want to get to know somebody, you have to be able to see them in more than just what they want to present to you. You have to be able to see somebody in more lights than you need to see somebody in real life. You need to see them when they're upset. You need to see them when they're happy. You need to see them when things are not so good, when things are good. You need to see them in every facet of life. What I did in my marriage, my last marriage, is that we had a long distance relationship. We started it from a distance, and I really didn't get to know the person. And then to avoid fornication, we said, let's get married. Ta-da. I don't know you. You don't know me. We talked for about 6 months, and then we said, let's get married. That wasn't a wise decision at all. I would never ever tell someone that they should do that unless 5 burning bushes from God actually were lit up in front of them, and they decided that they wanted to take that step with someone, that from a stranger to husband, from stranger to wife, to each his own. Again, like I said before, I just know that for me, after dealing in my fair share of relationships, 2 times I think the person was not faithful. When you start to have a pattern with somebody, you guys are talking and texting. You're talking throughout the day. You're texting. They're letting you know what's going on with them as far as their patterns or what they're doing throughout their day. They have a routine down. And then a couple days go by after y'all are talking for like a month and a half. And the next thing you know, their routine changes up. Their patterns change. And now they're not volunteering information. They're missing your call. They're not available. They were really, really tired and fell asleep. And they usually tell you that, but a couple times you talk and then you're like having to inquire, hey, what happened to you? What's going on? And then it's like, next thing you know, their pattern and their routine is changing up. It might be because they're cheating. It might be because they just maybe had an epiphany and they're not ready for a relationship the way they thought they would be ready. It could also be the fact that they just don't want a long distance relationship, and they might not know how to tell you. So they might be trying to do things to get you off their trail or to be the one to end it. You never know. You just don't know. You can't pop up on them. You can't have them pop up on you. Y'all can't just go out to dinner and talk. You can't just sit in a park and have a decent conversation together. These are what I call the downfalls of long distance relationship. Like, what are y'all really doing? And if how do you get to know somebody from a distance? Like, seriously, sincerely, how do you get to know how someone really is if y'all have to go through so much just to see each other? You can't just say, hey, let's go to dinner. You can't call them up and say, hey, let's meet me for lunch. Hey, you got off today? or you had a doctor's appointment. Yeah, let's meet for lunch. Let's meet for breakfast. You can't do that. You literally have to go through booking a flight. And now with what's going on, I wouldn't recommend anybody fly anywhere, even inside the U.S. I just wouldn't trust it. But you have to book a flight. First, you have to take off of work. And if, like, I know my job is real funny with stuff, especially around a certain time of the year. They have blackout dates where you literally cannot take off from work. They won't approve it. And it's usually around the time of the year where everybody takes off and spends time together. So what do you do with that, though? Can you have a long distance relationship that will last and eventually become something? This is part 2. Part of me feels like, yeah, you can. I know people that have gotten married, but it didn't last, because after they really started to get to know the person, they saw a whole bunch of stuff that they did not see before because they were from a distance, and they didn't like it. And they were like, yo, if I knew you were like this, I would have never got with you. Guys had the same feelings for girls. They just like, nah. It's the different world when you video chat someone. It's a different world when someone has a pattern and then they start to break that pattern, and then you're like questioning stuff, and then they're acting weird and different, and then they're not transparent. They're not being honest. They're not volunteering information anymore. At this point, you asking questions and you're inquiring, hey, what happened? Then they're giving you one-word answers, little sentences. They're not giving you information. And when you're at a distance, guys, you have to make the person feel secure. You have to be available. You have to make sure that your communication is beyond top notch. You cannot be at a distance with someone talking about a relationship, exclusivity, and then you're not answering the phone. They inquire about video chatting and you either don't see the message or you bypass the message. There's so many things that have to be present for you to have a good long distance relationship at all. For it to exist, you literally have to have stellar communication. You have to, if you have a routine established with them and you guys are talking and kicking it and sending messages to each other, and then next thing you know, you deviate from that and you don't tell them why, they're not going to feel secure. And it's not about, oh, you're an insecure person. No, we literally have hundreds of miles and states in between us. You have to be able to communicate and talk to me, and I have to be able to talk to you. If I'm going to the store, if I'm hanging out with friends, if I'm going on an outing, if I'm having a meeting and I'm not going to be available when I know you might be done with work and call me, or if I call you, let each other know what's going on. But these things are something that you're not supposed to have to tell each other, because you love each other. If you're at that phase and you want to get to know each other and spend more time, you have to be able to have certain things in place, certain agreements where you are talking to each other and you know what you want, and this person is what you want, and you guys are having a routine together, and it's ebb and flow and it blends and meshes well. Not where someone has deviated from a routine and now they're just acting funny. Like, y'all cannot have a long distance relationship like that. For me, at this moment, I'm on the fence, but I'm leaning more toward no, because no, I'm not on the fence. That's silly. I'm sorry. I'm saying no. For me, I don't want a long distance relationship. I want my dude to be local, where I can see you and you can see me, and we can spend time and we can go downtown and go to restaurants and eat and live jazz, and we can, have lunch sometime, have breakfast sometime. I want to be able to see my person in person, and I don't think you can get married to a person and have a long-lasting, solid relationship based off of distance, because you really can't see the person in every facet that you need to see them to make a healthy and informed decision for a long-term relationship. All right, guys, if you like the content, like, comment, and subscribe down below. If there's something that you'd like for me to talk about, then drop a comment and I will be happy to see if it's something that I can discuss. And thank you so much for liking, subscribing, and commenting on my channel. Have a great day. Part 2 is actually, I'm putting them on the same day. They're going to be on Saturday. One's going to air at like 9 or 10 in the morning. The other's going to air at 6 at night. All right, guys. And there's a short also. So this one's actually going to air around 11. So just keep an eye out for the times. The other one that I started on was really short, and it was just kind of like a teaser. But this one is, pardon me, something in my eye. But this one is really part 1 in depth. The second one is a little bit shorter. All right, guys, take care. Long distance relationships, part 1. Talk to you soon.